Hello everybody. In this video, we will try to understand what happens when Jupiter is present in Uttarashadha nakshatra in a horoscope. So, in order to understand this placement's energy, first we will try to understand the energy of Uttarashadha nakshatra. See, Uttarashadha nakshatra is defined by final victory. So its symbolism is also elephant tusk, that is something like enduring success. Elephant tusk in different cultures is used to represent a very great victory. So even though Uttarashadha people are very happy-go-lucky type, they get great victory even compared to the very hard-working nakshatras. Sometimes, or most of the times, I can say Uttarashadha energy can give a very great success. So it is called as victorious nakshatra. It's 100% victorious nakshatra. Purvashadha is something like 70 to 80% victorious, but Uttarashadha is 100%, 100 out of 100. It is a victorious nakshatra. It is also dharma oriented. It's very righteous. It gives a very great long-term success. And it has the power to achieve permanent victory. Means any victory it can generally achieve. Such kind of energy is always present in Uttarashadha nakshatra. And the deity of Uttarashadha is Vishwadevas, means universal gods. Generally, the Vishwavirat Swarupa of Lord Mahavishnu is represented with the energy of Uttarashadha, or you can say Uttarashadha energy is basically represented by the Vishwavirat Swarupa of Lord Mahavishnu. So this nakshatra is all about slow but guaranteed success. It always talks about integrity, ethics, truth, and also Uttarashadha energy is always trying to build something that lasts forever. So whenever you try to start some work on the day of Uttarashadha, it can go slow, but it can give you some guaranteed success. It is the fundamental thing we talk about. But based on the Navatara concept, if Uttarashadha nakshatra is a very good nakshatra with respect to your moon's nakshatra, then only you better start your work on the day of Uttarashadha. Otherwise, in general, Uttarashadha is a very positive and very good nakshatra, victorious nakshatra. That is the energy of Uttarashadha. So you cannot say much negatives about Uttarashadha nakshatra. And what about Jupiter? Jupiter in Vedic astrology represents wisdom, dharma, knowledge, expansion. And also, whenever a person has a very good Jupiter, or a very having a Jupiter with very good dignity, then you can say the person has lot of teaching and guiding abilities. And if Jupiter is a functionally benefic planet for you, it gives you a lot of luck and lot of divine blessings, whenever it is activated. So Jupiter is also the karaka of children. Jupiter is the karaka of husband in a female horoscope. Jupiter also represents your spiritual growth. Jupiter having a fundamental energy, that is expansion. Jupiter expands whatever it touches. That is a fundamental thing. Now, Jupiter and Uttarashadha combination here is something like wisdom and final victory combination. So a righteous success through wisdom and persistence. That is what I can see when Jupiter is present in Uttarashadha. See, success may be delayed sometimes, but once it comes, it is permanent and very respected. That is the fundamental energy of Jupiter in Uttarashadha. So if a native has Jupiter in Uttarashadha, I would see the person has some kind of strong moral compass. So very ethical, or cannot tolerate any kind of injustice, and he always believes in truth, fairness and law. That is the fundamental expectation of this particular placement. So sometimes they act like a judge or advisor by default, right? They have that behavior of a judge because they have a very good moral compass. They are very, very ethical. So they automatically speak like a judge. And they are natural teachers or natural guides also. As Jupiter is present in Uttarashadha, they love sharing knowledge. And others generally see them as mentors or counselors or a kind of guru like figure. So the growth with this particular placement, that is Jupiter in Uttarashadha, is slow but a very, very powerful growth. See, early life they may face some kind of struggles or delays, but after maturity or after certain age, there's a kind of solid rise you can see in their life. It's just like an elephant, slow but unstoppable. That is the fundamental energy. That's why it is represented by elephant symbolism or elephant tusk symbolism. Elephant tusk is also the representation of luck. And now, when Jupiter is present in Uttarashadha, it represents leadership with responsibility. So it's not a kind of flashy leadership, it's more like administrative role or a kind of government role or a kind of institutional authority kind of energy you can feel when Jupiter is present in Uttarashadha. So this placement supports careers involving government or administration. Law is very good, and also judiciary is very good. Teaching or professorship or spiritual leadership or corporate leadership, right? This is all good. See, they prefer stability over shortcuts, right? Because Uttarashadha is always about final victory. So they prefer respecting others, and also they prefer stability. Always they prefer stability, and they are very ethical. And if you see the wealth pattern, because as I am saying, Uttarashadha is a very, very good nakshatra, very positive nakshatra, and there is very lesser things to talk about some negative things of this particular nakshatra. Hardly you cannot speak much negative things about this. So you may ask, this is a very good nakshatra, then how much wealth I may get, right? See, the wealth pattern is something like, it is not at all sudden wealth for them, right? Usually on a general note I am telling you, because they prefer some ethical things, and also they like stability. So when a person is always ethical and they go by some kind of stability, you cannot expect some sudden wealth in their life generally, right? If some Rahu is present in some location in their horoscope, in some placement, and if that is giving money, or if some Venus is in a very good placement and it is giving money, that is a different thing. But here the wealth pattern, especially the Jupiter is in Uttarashadha, is not at all a sudden wealth, because Jupiter is also very ethical, right? So wealth builds gradually, and I would say by the age of 36 or 36 plus only they can see growth. Because when a person is going in a stable approach and also ethical approach, he builds the things very nicely gradually, then he can see the growth at the age of 36 or 36 plus. After in the middle age only they can see some kind of growth, because see, the wealth is clean, the wealth is respectable for them, the wealth is sustainable for them, right? That is their main that is the energy here I'm seeing. So, and if you observe relationships and marriage with respect to this particular placement, they generally take relationships seriously only. They look for loyalty, they look for dharma, they look for some kind of long-term commitment. So, but what can be the issue with Jupiter in Uttarashadha is they can be too idealistic, right? And also they may judge partner morally, because they prefer some high moral compass. So they expect others to be highly having high morality. But most of the times in Kali Yuga, it's not possible to to get a very great moral compass related persons from as your partner. So with Jupiter in Uttarashadha, person may feel very bad when they come to know that the partner is not having very high moral compass, and that is the main problem I can see. And This is a very spiritual placement also, because they have strong interest in dharma, scriptures, ethics. They can become teachers, philosophers, and guides, as we discussed just now. So higher purpose over material life, that is their motive fundamentally. So every placement has some kind of negative, but this placement has some less negatives. But in the age of Kali, of course, even this placement can have some kind of negatives. Especially, I will tell you, the moral rigidity. It's something like they always have a kind of I am right attitude, and they are very judgmental, right? So if you don't like the people who are judging, then you better don't come to this Jupiter and Uttarashadha people. So delayed success frustration. See, they want some ethical building of money, they want stability. So by that, their money growth is a bit slow. So early struggles in uh, for wealth building can create some kind of impatience in them, right? So over responsibility, see, they take too much of burden because they always want some kind of ethical things going on around them. So they want some kind of morality. It feels responsible for others lives also, but it's a kind of over responsibility, right? This energy feels responsible for others lives also. So because of this high moral compass, they may feel a lot of problems. They may get a lot of problems. So that is the fundamental energy I can see. And what I'm seeing with this placement is it's a very strong Jupiter energy. It's highly spiritual. It's something like teacher like energy, very practical. It's very disciplined. It's good for administration, I can say. And also, it's something like a social reformer mindset they have, and it works for society. This particular energy works for society. It's a deep spirituality, it's philosophical, a bit detached also. So that is the fundamental energy. So I would say in their early age, they would struggle, they would learn, they would also learn some kind of discipline. But in the middle age, they get some good amount of growth, and stable success and recognition definitely comes after the age of 36, I would say, with this placement. So this nakshatra is all about late but lasting success, because Jupiter is ethical, and also this particular Uttarashadha is ethical. See, if this particular Jupiter is not watched by Saturn or Mars, because see, whenever a planet is watched by Saturn or Mars, it gets some maleficity, because irrespective of whether Saturn and Mars are functionally benefic or functionally malefic with respect to your ascendant, their aspects are always malefic, right? That's why if this particular Jupiter gets some kind of Saturn or Mars maleficity, then this Jupiter becomes a bit abnormal, right? Rahu Ketu axis is another one, because if this Jupiter in Uttarashadha is on Rahu Ketu axis, then you can say this Jupiter is afflicted. So afflicted Jupiter is also like, it's not a normal Jupiter, it's a kind of abnormal Jupiter only. So if this particular Jupiter is not afflicted or not having any malefic aspect, then I can say this Jupiter in Uttarashadha is very, very ethical, and they only prefer stable income. So the income only comes after 36, the age 36, right? So that is the fundamental energy I feel with this, right? A very, very good placement. I cannot say much negatives about this, because Jupiter is ethical and Uttarashadha itself is a kind of ethical nakshatra. So totally it's a good nakshatra, right? It's a good nakshatra. Jupiter is generally, this is the behavior of Jupiter here, right? Thanks for watching this video.